An interesting development that is unfolding in the state of Karnataka, with the Siddaramaiah followers now planning a huge birthday event for the former Karnataka Chief Minister. That seems to be causing a heartburn to some of his detractors. We get you more details on that, as Siddaramaiah's camp is all set to celebrate his 75th birthday. The supporters of KPCC President DK Shivkumar have also demanded a similar celebration for their leader. Shivkumar's camp has written a letter to the committee to organize a grand celebration for him similar to that of Siddaramaiah. Shivkumar has also slammed the claim and has said that he will be attending Siddaramaiah's birthday, essentially ruling out any sort of an internal tussle as far as this mega event is concerned.
ನಾನು ಅಧಿಕಾರ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನನ್ನ ಪೂಜೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ, ಪಕ್ಷದ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ಯಾರ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಯಾವ ಉತ್ಸವ ಬೇಡ, ನನಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಉತ್ಸವ. ನನಗೆ ಯಾವುದು ಬೇಡ, ನನಗೆ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಉತ್ಸವ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ನೆಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ರಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅದು ನಾನು ಕರೆದಿದ್ದು. ನಾನೊಬ್ಬ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್. ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟ ಕರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಖಂಡಿತ ನಾವು.
ಇದು ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಪಕ್ಷದ ಭವಿಷ್ಯದ ವಿಚಾರ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಏನೋ ಬಿಂಬಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೋ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನೋ ಯಾರನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ನಾಯಕತ್ವವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತಲ್ಲ. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರನ್ನ ಬಿಂಬಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಪೂಜೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇದೆಯೋ ಇಲ್ವೋ, ಬೇರೆಯವರಂತೂ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಇದು ಮುಂದಿನ ಭವಿಷ್ಯದ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮುಖಂಡರುಗಳು, ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರುಗಳು ನಾವು ಈ ಒಂದು ಆಚರಣೆಯನ್ನ ಬಹಳ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂತಹ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರಿಗೆ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಮಾಜಗಳಿಗೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಸಂದೇಶ ಹೋಗದೇ ಇರೋ ರೀತಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಆಚರಣೆಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
And to the ongoing controversy in Karnataka, former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has also now sent out a message. That's his message to critics. Says, what are they scared of? So certainly once again taking a jibe at the critics and perhaps sending a message to the party as well. Let me quickly go across to Deepak, who's joining us with more details. But before that, this reaction coming in from Siddaramaiah.
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೆದರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪಾಪ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಹಬ್ಬ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ಜನ ಸೇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಭಯ ಹತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಸೋಲಿನ ಭಯ. ಈಗ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪ ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಹಬ್ಬ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ ಅಲ್ವಾ, 77ನೇ ವರ್ಷ. ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ, ನನಗೂ ಕರೆದಿದ್ರು, ಒತ್ತಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದರು, ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು. ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಹಬ್ಬ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ, ಇದಕ್ಕೇನು ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಹಬ್ಬ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದು ಬಂದೆ, ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಯಾಕೆ ನಾನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದ ಹಬ್ಬ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು, ನಾನು 75 ವರ್ಷ ತುಂಬಿದಾಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರುಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರೆ. ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಭಯ, ಯಾಕೆ ಯಾಕ್ರಿ ಭಯ? ಕಾಂಗ್ರೆಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಭಯ ಇಲ್ರಿ. ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದವ್ರು ನಿಮಗೆ? ನೀವು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮೋತ್ಸವ ಅಂತ ಬರೆದವ್ರು ನೀವು. ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಹಂಗೆ. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮೋತ್ಸವ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು, ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ 75 ಅಮೃತೋತ್ಸವ. ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಬರೀರಿ. ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯ 75 ಅಮೃತೋತ್ಸವ.
Let me quickly go across to Deepak, joining us with more details. Deepak, the Siddaramaiah versus DK Shivkumar is something that we've been speaking of since the very longest time, and now with the state approaching elections next year, this is turning out to be extremely interesting because, you know, this happened not even when DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah reached Karnataka after their meetings in the national capital with the party high command.
Well, now the High Command and the state leadership is very much aware of the fact that for the Congress party to make a big dent or make a mark in the upcoming elections, both the factions, the Siddaramaiah faction and the DK faction, will have to fire together. Or else, BJP, of course, could trounce them once again. But the biggest roadblock, of course, is the ego battle between the two leaders and their supporters, of course, who time and again come up and, call for one of them becoming the next Chief Minister of Karnataka. And now this particular birthday party that has been planned for Siddaramaiah is being looked at that roadblock per se. Now you have several Congress leaders, including DK Shivkumar, his brother DK Suresh, who've reacted, who've said that while, of course, he's a tall leader in the party, it's going to be celebrated. In fact, DK Shivkumar even said that this is going to be almost like a party event. He's going to be taking part as well. But, there are apprehensions that, whether this is an event to project Siddaramaiah as the next phase of the, chief ministerial candidate, in fact, of the Congress party. These are the concerns that, of course, lie, while DK Shivkumar time and again has taken indirect jibes and said that he has worked all along for, the betterment of this particular party from the ground level, from the grassroots level. Now, Siddaramaiah today, of course, going on to hit out at the BJP, which has been making statements that, the Congress's house is not in order. He's going on to say that they are concerned about the sheer number of people who will gather at this particular event. But when asked about the Congress and, problems which could arise within the party itself, he says nobody in the Congress really has a problem with this event being held. But whereas within the Congress party, of course, though they're not, of course, saying it on record, there are internal apprehensions that several of them are raising pertaining to what could happen, the kind of sloganeering that could happen during this particular event, and whether this event itself is to project Siddaramaiah as the next chief ministerial candidate from the Congress for the upcoming election in Karnataka.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So who is really the tallest leader in Congress in Karnataka is the big question. There is a reaction coming in from the Congress party, once again talking about how this birthday bash is just a celebration of Siddaramaiah and his contribution to the party the last few years. Listen in.
Naturally, his people, his fans will want to celebrate it. He's been a chief minister for 5 years. He's delivered great administratively. He's given some great policies. So quite naturally, all those people would want to celebrate it, right? It's his 75th birthday. It's a landmark.
Let me quickly go across to our guest joining us this afternoon. We have Mohan Krishna, who's spokesperson of the BJP, with us. Also, Ravi Srivastava, who's a political analyst, joining us on this broadcast this afternoon. Good afternoon to both of you. Now, Mr. Srivastava, to you first. Now, this kind of an ego battle between the two leaders, not for the first time, but this time, interestingly, around Siddaramaiah's birthday bash, a long event that the Siddaramaiah camp is now preparing for, but doesn't look like it's going down too well with the DK Shivkumar followers.
I think it's a wrong notion altogether and a fig of imagination that both the tall leaders are fighting among themselves. You have seen the statements of both the sides which have been given. It's a 75th birthday for Siddaramaiah, which his followers wish to celebrate. And DK Shivkumar has said that he'll be joining that. And not alone that, Siddaramaiah said that he had joined Yedurappa's 77th birthday also. So these are all personal things which happen between the leaders. And it should not be construed that there is a faction or a rivalry in the party. I think both the leaders are tall and they have been into politics for quite a number of years. So there is no rift as such, and they are going to fight together for the next election, which is in 2023 in the beginning. So I think there is it should not be perceived as a rival fighting or anything of this sort.
All
and
right.
as it is, Siddaramaiah has
so you're saying
with Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Yeah.
It's being misinterpreted. Mr. Krishna, would you agree to that? The reaction that came in from Siddaramaiah was, of course, for the critics and essentially pointing towards the BJP, saying that, it is the BJP that, in a sense, has a problem with this and they should not, because he too did end up attending the birthday celebrations of Yedurappa. But the fact remains that DK Shivkumar's followers within the party do want a bigger event or an event of the same magnitude for him as well. So there is certainly something not good between the two camps, if not the two leaders, if we talk about just this particular situation.
The feud is open and it is seen in naked eyes to the people of the country and people of the Karnataka also. This happens when you don't have a leader at the top taking care of things properly, who can guide properly. That's one thing. Second thing, there is nothing wrong in celebrating 75th birthday of Siddaramaiah. Nothing wrong. We also welcome it. But at the same time, on what cost? Look at the way the Congress is proclaiming and Siddaramaiah's camp is proclaiming that. They are calling it as Siddaramotsava. You know what is Utsava means? Utsava means a kind of a function, a big function, which happens in the memory, actually. They are making it as a memory. Congress, today they know that where they are sitting today, and they have lost everything in the country. They can make only Utsavas. They cannot make more than this. We are not bothered about whether it is Siddaramotsava or the 75th birthday or whatever may be. But I would like to mention
but
that
the fact is that this could dent the party's prospects in the upcoming elections. Mr. Srivastava, now it does appear to be a situation wherein, the Siddaramaiah camp is at the moment trying to project him as the tallest leader in the party. In that sense, perhaps the chief ministerial face as well ahead of the upcoming elections. Do you in that sense not think that personal ambitions here are perhaps taking over the party prospects?
See, every camp in the party tries to project their leader as a taller one. What I say is Mr. Krishna should be more worried about the strength of Congress. And the statement of Siddaramaiah clearly say that he is posturing or he is positioning to BJP. He is having lakhs of followers who will be attending that function and all. And as far as the Mahotsava is concerned, Shivkumar himself declined because they were calling about Kumar Mahotsava also. He himself said it, that no, I don't want any Kumar Mahotsava for that matter. And if they are celebrating it, I'll join it, whatever function is there. So Mr. Krishna should be more worried about his own party instead of bothering about...
You're suggesting that all is well between the two. The fact remains that DK Shivkumar's followers have demanded that an equal event, a grand event be prepared for him as well. So there is certainly something that's not quite adding up here, but appreciate you gentlemen joining us this afternoon with those perspectives. Let's quickly shift